And now, FAIRFAX Breakfast Club with your host, Basil Lemba.
Welcome to the FAIRFAX Breakfast Club show. My name is Basil Lemba and I will be your host. The FAIRFAX Breakfast Club is a weekly program in which we bring to you valuable and workable know-how you can use to improve your networking skills and grow your business. We always start the show with a quote, and today's quote is, "I am a reflection of the community." That is from Tupac Shakur. With us today in the studio, we have someone who specializes in pulling people together and helping them. And his name is Garnes. Hello, Glenn.
Hey, how's it going, Basil?
Good, how about you?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here with you.
Excellent. Tell our audience over here the name of your company and what you do.
Well, my company is Village Connector Media. And what we do is we've created a communication system that allows people on the internet to basically be in touch with each other, to be able to explore and have opportunity to learn about new things, very similar to what you're doing here with your television show. We have online television, online radio, and an online newspaper that's all designed to be a community project. So we don't have paid reporters. Everyone that contributes to the newspaper, the television, or the radio shows is a volunteer, and they're simply telling the stories of their own communities.
Gotcha.
So we're basically an outlet for people to be able to participate in creating the news and having that shared with the rest of the community.
Okay. Now, we have a question that when somebody brings the news, is it in any way qualified, checked before it goes out? Is it maybe a filter or whatever, a QC? Or somebody just can, okay.
That's a great question, and let me explain. We actually don't edit in terms of subject matter with three exceptions. We don't cover politics, we don't cover crime, and we don't cover controversial topics.
Okay.
We're basically focused on bring people the news that we all can be proud of, things that we can all participate in. So we will actually edit in the sense of grammar and spelling type things, but we don't tell people what they have to write about. The idea is for them to be able to express themselves through whatever it is that they want to talk about in their communities, whether it's an interview with someone they consider to be a community treasure, an elder in the community, or someone that's got a special talent or a special skill. We let the community define what they want to see.
Okay, very good. How do you get to start that business, that company?
Well, that's a long story. I don't know if we have that long, but I'll see if I can give you the Reader's Digest.
Well, if you can edit, I'm sure you can edit.
Let me see if I can do it in a way that doesn't have to be edited. For the longest time, I've realized the power of technology and the internet and the way the internet has made the world much smaller and allowed people to express themselves. So in a lot of ways, when I decided to create this program, was trying to be loyal to what the original purpose behind the internet was, which was to get people collaborating. That was the whole purpose behind the internet, was to get people in a position to work together and to collaborate. And so we did that using a medium that is familiar to people. Most people know what television is, most people know what radio is, and most people can associate with a newspaper. So we simply created things that were familiar to people and gave them a part in making it happen.
Okay.
And that's why all of our programming is designed around the community participating and actively helping us to create the stories that are taking place in their local communities.
Okay. And since how long that company exists?
Well, we're actually going into our 4th year now. And we started off with just the newspaper, and this year we expanded into television and more aggressively into radio. Okay. And we're very much looking forward to what the future brings as well. Ultimately, our goal is for us to be able to be educational, be informational, and to be in a position where we can distract people from all of the normal stuff they see in the traditional media outlets. There's a lot of things that simply don't get covered in mainstream media just because it doesn't sell newspapers and doesn't bring viewers. But that doesn't mean that those topics are not important to some sector of the community. And since we have the ability to be flexible with respect to what we cover, we have the ability to give people the opportunity to experience those topics, whatever they may be. And it's even more interesting because it's coming from their neighbors.
Absolutely. What would be the goal of it? The overall goal then?
Well, our overall goal is to help local communities to tell their stories.
Okay.
And to also
help them tell the story because they might not necessarily be able to do so with other channels. Is that?
Yes, in fact, we're doing a variety of different things here. We're helping communities to tell stories that don't get told because, for the most part, mainstream media has some limitations in how much they can cover. There's a physical limit to how much content can be covered in a 24-hour day, and so we simply give people who may have submitted a press release and didn't get their story written the opportunity to write the story themselves.
Okay.
Or who, for example, not everyone is in a position to come on, into a television station like this and be able to produce a show. So we give them another place to do that. And we are a lot more flexible in a lot of ways than some of the mainstream media outlets. So we basically give them another option and allow them, again, to be telling the stories of things that should be told, people need to know about, without having to worry about whether it's going to sell advertising or not.
Interesting. Okay. Now tell us a bit about you, Glenn. Not that I'm assuming that you're mysterious, but
there's another long story.
Because you've done several things.
There's another long story. I'm originally from New Jersey, came down here for law school, had a fabulous time in law school and enjoyed the experience. But after practicing law for several years, or actually for 18 years, I got tired of doing that and realized that there were some other things that I wanted to do that were more important than representing people in court. And that's when I started to explore some of these other entrepreneurial endeavors.
Gotcha.
I represented small business owners for most of my time in my law practice, and was fascinated by how excited people were about their businesses. And unfortunately, the law practice itself didn't allow me to really explore entrepreneurship the way that I would have wanted to. So I started looking at other businesses and found myself more interested in those than I was in my practice, in my law practice. So I started looking at technology. I've always been a big advocate for technology. I was always a geek, always loved electronics. And so the concept of using video and audio and an online newspaper and the internet technologies and the social networking communities that exist to create an information structure was exciting to me. And we, 4 years later, we're well on our way to creating an infrastructure that allows everyone to participate in what's going on the internet, and in a way that's productive, where we're sharing information, sharing ideas, and more important than anything else, growing together.
Gotcha.
And so that's my passion now. That's what I call my paramount purpose, is to facilitate the evolution of humanity by giving people the ability to communicate ideas with each other.
Okay, good. Excellent. What would be your biggest challenge?
My big challenge right now is creating awareness of what we do and how we are here to serve the community. Just like with most businesses, making people aware of the tools that you have available is a very important component of what we're doing right now. I'll give you an example of one of those tools. Village Connector Media has a program called the Consumers Win Savings Club. And I talked with you about this earlier. The Consumers Win Savings Club is an opportunity for consumers to save money when they shop with local merchants, small locally owned businesses. We don't work with big box stores, we don't work with the corporate giants, we work with small locally owned businesses. And the reason for that is that the small locally owned businesses are typically the backbone of our local communities. And so what we're looking to do is to support their efforts, because they help to create economic progress or economic prosperity in local communities. When the business community grows, especially small locally owned businesses, it creates opportunities for all of us. Definitely. And so that's why this program has been designed specifically to support small locally owned businesses. But in the process of supporting small locally owned businesses, we're able to help consumers to save money shopping for things they're going to buy anyway. So basically what happens is we have a online coupon system, a mobile and online coupon system that allows local merchants to be able to advertise their businesses and their specials and their promotions to consumers that are on and offline. And the idea is that if we can make it easy for small business owners to reach their ideal clients and give those consumers the opportunity to save money, then that helps to stimulate the local economy.
That's a win-win situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we're looking for here. We're looking to bring communities together in a way that allows them to explore the potential in working together. See, a lot of times business owners and consumers consider themselves to be adversaries. You know how that goes. Most business owners think that consumers are too cheap, and most consumers think that business owners charge too much. So we're being the solution by being able to make it possible for small businesses to reduce their advertising costs so that they can offer better and more frequent deals to local consumers, and we can all get along.
Can you just get along? Is that what it means?
Exactly.
Okay, I got you. Okay, very good, excellent. And what is your biggest success?
I think our biggest success, or one of our big successes, has been with the advent of our media operations. We've been able to get students involved in writing for the newspaper, and we're now exploring and beginning to have students produce their own TV and radio shows.
Good.
For example, I have a young lady at Laurel High School who I'm hoping this coming year is going to be producing her own TV show on African food and fashion. And she's very excited about being able to have her own TV show. It really made her, perk up and get her excited because it's not something that she would have otherwise entertained as possible. But when I went and exhibited at Career Day, and when she saw what we were doing, the first thing she said was, "I'd like to have my own show." And I said, "Well, then you need to get in touch with me and let's make that happen." So being able to have that happen, we've had numbers of students from around the region who have written and actually gotten credit in high school for writing a column for the newspaper, for example. So we consider that to be, a central part of our mission, and what we're looking to do to facilitate the kind of community growth that can take place when we all work together, we all play a role, and we all are looking forward to pooling our resources in a way that makes us all better as a team than we are individually.
That's for sure. Yeah, because it's a team, that's the way to go about it. We got to play it as a team.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, let's talk a little bit about the expo. We have first the expo coming up on December 6th. We'd love to have you there. We'll be at the Mason Inn, George Mason University. We have about 100 exhibitors, and we're expecting 400 to 500 business people. And Glenn over here has attended a couple of our expos so far. Why don't you tell our audience your experience?
Well, I've had a fabulous time at the expo. I'm a big believer in getting together to network with other business professionals, and I was very, very impressed with the quality of people that show up to your events. I've seen 2 expos, and the quality of the speakers that you bring out is always excellent. The quality of the exhibitors, they're usually there early and looking to network and to engage with the people that come. It's not just a sales pitch to buy something immediately. They're very informational. And the comments that I heard from other people that just attended, they were all talking about how much they had learned and how glad they were they came out to meet the people that they got connected to. So you're making good connections, you're sharing good information, and you're making it easy for people to get access to the resources they need to grow their businesses and to grow themselves individually as well.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, we're very excited because over the years the expo has been growing and growing, and the next step right now is the conference center, George Mason Inn, which I just took a look at the floor plan. I'm very, very excited because you remember the last time it was in a room a little smaller, and then this one is a big room with some can easily get in there 100 exhibitors.
Well, I'm looking forward to that because as much as the old facility was wonderful, it was very intimate. It was getting to be a little confining with the way you're able to pack the house, because I'll tell you, like I said before, the number of people that show up to that event and the quality of people, they come with the right attitude. I think I don't know what you do to create the culture of that event, but clearly people come with the right attitude. There's good quality networking taking place. It's not just people trying to push business cards in your hand. It really is a pleasure to attend that event. And I've always found the quality of people make the event.
Yes.
And so you've done a good job of getting that formula right, and it's something to look forward to for people anytime that you're hosting an event, and especially the expo.
Yeah, thank you. So we're looking forward, very excited. I mean, getting the more you can get them together, we're looking forward to it. I want the next event to be really the best and biggest event of all the events.
Well, you've got big shoes to fill because the two that I've been to were fabulous. So don't fall down on this one. but the truth is, it can't help but continue to get better because you're getting more and more participation from people.
Yes.
You're getting the right people participating, and a lot of it, you're getting a lot of people that are coming back, and that usually is a good indication that you're on the right track. When people come back over and over for your events, you know that you have struck a chord with them, and I think that's really what's happening. But they're also inviting other people. They're also bringing friends and colleagues, and they're going back and sharing the message of what they got out of the event, and that's also quite a feather in your cap that you've grown. I mean, you're talking about 400 or 500 people coming out. I mean, there's no way that in the venue that you had the last one at that you could fit that many, and you could see that.
Well, absolutely. In fact, this is what I'm realizing also. There's this thing, they say nature arbors vacuum. Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
If you have a small place, you don't dare promoting heavily. In your back of your mind, you're not strong. When you have a big, now you go and promote.
Exactly.
But when it's small, I don't know, if we invited everybody, then we're going to have a problem.
Well, I'll tell you, you won't have a problem based on where you're hosting it this time around. I can't wait to start inviting some more people to come out myself because I can tell you that this is an event I'm proud to recommend and to promote to people because I know the experience that they're going to have. I know the quality of the people that you're going to have involved in the event, and it just gets better and better every time I see it. So.
Okay, good, excellent. Now, I wanted to touch upon something which you did a seminar on owning your own business.
Yes.
Last time. I want you to talk a bit about that, owning your own business, because I think it's valuable information.
Well, we are typically conditioned by society to believe that success means going to college, getting a degree, getting good grades, and then going to work for somebody else. And very little of the educational experience is centered around teaching people about the opportunity to own their own businesses. I really didn't learn that until I got out into the practice of law on my own and started to see how exciting it was for people to own their own businesses. Then I started to realize and started to become more aware of the tax advantages of being in business, the flexibility that it provides you, the ability to be creative that now gets unleashed in a way that's truly rewarding and edifying of who people can be. And so I developed the workshop, You Need a Business, to help people to understand where the opportunities are for them because they're not usually getting that in the classroom. I see more colleges and more higher learning institutions focusing on entrepreneurship, but it's still not at the level that I think it really needs to be. There are a lot more people out here who can do very well owning their own businesses, but they consider it to be risky, and they consider themselves to be ill-equipped to do it on their own. Let me give you an example of how I think that that's just not true. If you have the right people around you, the right support system around you, then the risk factor goes down pretty dramatically. But the truth is, I believe that the risk associated with being in business is largely a myth. Let me give you an anecdote that I think will help to illustrate this. If you're a bookkeeper, and let's say you make $60,000 a year and you work for an employer, you have one person that's responsible for your income. And if that one person wakes up tomorrow and decides they no longer need a bookkeeper or no longer can afford a bookkeeper, now you're unemployed because you had one person that was responsible for your income. But for every company that can afford a full-time bookkeeper, there are probably 10 that need a bookkeeper but can't afford someone full-time. If you were in the business of bookkeeping, those would be your clients. Now, if you had those 10 people paying you $1,000 a month to handle their books, you've now given yourself a $40,000 a year raise. And what are the chances that all 10 of them are going to wake up tomorrow morning and tell you that you're fired? Probably not high. So when we look at where the risk really is the risk in owning your own business, or is the risk in having one person responsible for your income, typically your employer? These are the kinds of things I try to educate people on. So that they can at least make an accurate and intelligent decision for themselves as to whether there is an opportunity for them in entrepreneurship. And of course, the workshop also teaches them about how to monetize their talents for something other than a paycheck. Typically, what you do for your employer, people will pay you as a consultant to do. People will buy your book. They'll attend your workshop. They'll attend your webinar. But you have to learn how to create those products and services and make them available to people. But the truth is that once people have an awareness of what's available to them, and the different ways that they can monetize their talents that don't depend on a resume and a paycheck, the more I'm finding that people are starting to see opportunities for what they are, which is, a great way for them to at least supplement their full-time paycheck.
Gotcha. Very good.
And I know that we've talked a lot about you're a big advocate for entrepreneurship. A lot of the things that you do are designed to foster opportunities for people that are new to the concept to get involved in entrepreneurship. And so the workshop that I teach is about helping people to find the resources and the knowledge and the right people to do it with. And so I think that's one of the reasons why we've been attracted to each other, because we're on a very similar mission in a lot of respects, because of the things that you stand for. And the Small Business Expo is a perfect example of how you're supporting small business owners and their ability to get the knowledge, information, the right people around them to be successful in business. So I was glad that you asked me to speak on that topic at the last event.
Yeah, I think it's fundamental. It's in fact, we touched upon that with the last guest as well. Many years back, this country has nothing but entrepreneurs.
That's right.
Until the whole to change, where okay, now everybody go to school, get a diploma, and go and work for somebody else. The way I see entrepreneurship is really the muscle is only good as it's vibrant, and when you practice and exercise it. When you're an employee, you don't get a chance to flex your muscles really. But when you're entrepreneurs, you get to strengthen yourself, figure out things, create and whatever. You really get to know, to find out who you are, what you are made up of.
And what you're capable of.
What you're capable of as an entrepreneur. So therefore, it's a miss. You'll never know who you are as long as you work for. Yes, maybe you're CEO of some company, stock option, maybe we talk about Lee Iacocca for the world, but that's not what we're talking about. On average, we're talking about somebody who come over here and then punch through work. Not that it's bad, it has to be done, but giving yourself, if you can, if you would, the opportunity to experience that, I think that's the joy.
That's true.
Of entrepreneurship.
There are a lot of Lee Iacocca's out here, hundreds if not thousands of them, that never get discovered because the culture within their company doesn't reward creativity. Sometimes employers expect you to do what you're told as opposed to coming to them with ideas.
Yes.
You'd be surprised how many times ideas in the corporate world are actually being stifled because the company wants to focus on what it has set as priority versus what you may bring to the table. And that's another reason I think that a lot of people feel liberated when they get out into their own businesses and have the ability to decide what is important to them at that point in time. I actually think we're seeing a shift also, especially with you see the unemployment rate right now, and you see that a lot of those jobs are not coming back because companies have figured out a way to use technology to actually replace some of the traditional positions. We see a lot of that.
Well, yeah, today if you call somebody, rarely do you get a receptionist.
That's right.
You get an answering machine that tell you push this, push this, push that. Yeah.
You go to the bank, you get an ATM machine, not a teller. So what did all the tellers do? And see, the point is that if you can be replaced by a machine, then that's all the more reason for you to figure out a way to increase the quality or the utility of what you know and how you do it. A lot of the people that have been replaced by machines have talents, they have skills. They haven't figured out how to monetize those talents and skills beyond what they learn to do in their full-time jobs. So our goal, as I see it, is to make people more aware of the different ways that they can monetize their talents. And if we can do that, then people will find other things that they can do, things that they can't be replaced by a machine doing. But they can also be putting technology to their own uses if they simply take the time to educate themselves. And that's part of the role of Village Connector Media. I teach a workshop, another one that maybe I'll do at the next expo. You tell me what you want.
Okay.
But it's called Affordable Technologies for Small Business Growth, where I show small business owners a variety of different technology and software solutions that allow them to basically leverage their time, energy, and money in a way that increases profit. And small business owners especially need to be aware of those opportunities because they don't have unlimited budgets to get the job done. But they can play in the arena with the big boys if they simply take the time to understand where the opportunities are.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be interested in that. We'll definitely take a look at that. That's very remarkable. it is fundamental. It is fundamental in today's, and also because of what we're seeing with the economy. If nothing, this recession is an experience that you have to have a plan B.
I think the recession has provided an awakening. And that's why I see that there's more people willing to explore entrepreneurship and being in business for themselves. Because right now it's their only option. Employers are not calling, and therefore they have to find something else to do. People can't be on unemployment permanently, despite what they hear in the media. The point,
you belong to unemployment, you understand?
That's exactly right. But once they find that there are other ways, other ways that they can be paid for their talents, I find that more and more people are open to the idea. So maybe the recession has been a good thing because it's reawakening the opportunity in entrepreneurship. I think that if we can return to empowering people by putting them in position to control their own destinies. I mean, I think about how many people have been told that they did a great job, but the company didn't do well this year. How many times have you heard someone talk about that? Well, if you're not owning the company, then you're always going to be subject to what somebody else feels that you're worth. And that's why I think it's important for people to explore getting paid what they are worth by being the ones signing the checks.
Okay, very good. Well, Glenn, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
My pleasure. To our guests, I just see we have a breakfast event. Come on, check it out on our website. Thank you very much for tuning in and looking forward to seeing you next time. Have a nice evening. Bye-bye.